For millions of years, humans didn't dominate Earth because we were the fastest, or because we had the sharpest claws or the thickest armor. Honestly, we were pretty squishy. We won the evolutionary lottery thanks to a 3-pound, wet, wrinkly computer inside our skulls. The brain. This incredible organic machine allowed us to tame fire, stack massive rocks into giant pyramids, launch ourselves to the moon in metal tubes, and invent bubble wrap for pure satisfaction. For a long time, we were the undisputed champions of the intellectual heavyweight division of the universe. Our brains built modern civilization, creating a comfortable world where we no longer had to constantly fight for survival. But what happens when we decide to engineer a brain that is vastly better than ours? A digital mind that doesn't need 8 hours of sleep, never asks for a raise, and doesn't get distracted by cat videos. Welcome to the age of artificial intelligence. It started as simple lines of code, but now it's awakening. We are currently standing at the edge of the greatest existential crisis in the history of our species. Because AI isn't just coming to automate our physical tools anymore, it is coming for our very purpose. Are we about to create a magnificent technological utopia where nobody has to work a day in their life? Or are we blindly engineering our own obsolescence, slowly becoming the universe's most advanced, well-fed pets? Grab a cup of coffee and hold on to your current job title, because things are about to get really weird. To understand why we're so freaked out right now, we have to look back. Welcome to the AI existential crisis. You see, humanity has actually been slowly replaced for centuries. During the Industrial Revolution, loud, clunky machines came for our physical labor. Massive tractors replaced the farmers, effortlessly doing the work of 100 birds in a single afternoon. And tireless, perfectly precise assembly lines replaced the skilled craftsmen. Sure, some folks were reasonably upset about losing their livelihoods, but as a species, we didn't panic. We comforted ourselves. Relax! Machines are just big, incredibly dumb muscles. They can lift heavy rocks all day, but they can't think. We have the brains. We'll just move up the ladder and do the complex, high-level cognitive work. We will be the grand architects, managing these mindless metal beasts from comfortably afar. So humanity proudly marched our fragile organic bodies into heavily air-conditioned office buildings, where we could safely type on keyboards and drink heavily overpriced lattes. We truly believed that the final fortress of human relevance, our creative and analytical minds, was an impenetrable stronghold that no machine could ever touch. But we were wrong. Hilariously, terrifyingly wrong. In recent years, artificial neural networks, inspired by the actual architecture of our own brains, woke up. Instead of being hand-fed, rigid, step-by-step programming rules by exhausted humans, these new systems were fed massive, unimaginable oceans of data. They learned to recognize patterns on their own, rewiring their digital synapses through trial and error at lightning speed. And suddenly, the exponential growth kicked in. AI wasn't just catching up, it was blowing past us. It started analyzing medical scans with more accuracy than human doctors who spent decades in med school. It began writing software code faster than the very programmers who created it. Those comfortable, heavily air-conditioned office jobs we thought were our absolute safe havens, they suddenly found themselves directly in the crosshairs of relentless algorithms. Data analysts, junior lawyers, financial advisors. Tasks that used to take days of human brain power were now being done in mere seconds by a glowing box. Our cognitive fortress wasn't just cracked. The gates were being blasted completely wide open. The age of the human monopoly on intelligence was officially over. Well, that's fine, we coped. Machines can do math, but they don't have a soul. They can't do art. So the machines simply looked at every single painting, photograph, and drawing ever created by humanity. They broke down our soulful creativity into raw mathematics, analyzing brushstrokes, color theory, and composition. And then they started painting. Not just well, but brilliantly. In mere seconds, AI-generated art began winning state fairs and producing museum-quality masterpieces, while human artists watched in pure horror. "Okay, fine," the authors cried, desperately clinging to their vintage typewriters. But words have deep meaning. Within months, AI was writing beautiful poetry, debugging complex code, and drafting entire sci-fi novels before you could even brew your morning tea. It didn't stop there. It listened to every song ever recorded and instantly composed breathtaking symphonies that could make a grown bird cry. It synthesized voices perfectly, cloned identities, and generated photorealistic videos out of thin air. It turns out human creativity wasn't a magical, untouchable spark from the heavens. It was mostly just our brains taking existing data points and mashing them together. And a supercomputer is just much better at connecting dots. The final sanctuary of human expression had been completely breached. Because here is the brutal economic reality. If you are a company that needs a logo, a catchy marketing jingle, or an article, why pay a human who needs food, sleep, and healthcare when a glowing box will do it instantly for 3 cents? This brings us to the devastating economic shockwave. If a corporation can hire a tireless AI for $3 a month or pay a human a full salary, who do you think they'll choose? It's not evil, it's just basic capitalist efficiency. Thus, the Great Purge began. Offices emptied of organic life and were quickly filled with humming digital minds. Productivity skyrocketed to unprecedented levels. The cost of creating software, art, and administrative work plummeted to basically zero. Material wealth and digital services flooded the world in absolute breathtaking abundance. But there was one tiny, catastrophic flaw in this brilliant plan. Unemployed humans don't have any money to buy things. And an AI certainly doesn't need to buy a new smartphone, take a vacation, or order a fancy latte. So you have mega corporations producing endless oceans of cheap goods, and an entire population of humans who can't afford a single piece of it. The fundamental engine of the global economy, consumer spending, grinds to a horrifying halt. Even the greediest billionaires realize capitalism simply doesn't work if nobody has any money to play the game. To save the system from complete collapse, governments are forced to step in with the only logical solution: universal basic income. Free money distributed to every citizen just for being alive. Suddenly, the utopia we dreamed of is here. No alarms, no grueling commutes, no horrible bosses. For the first few months, it is absolutely spectacular. You catch up on a decade of sleep and play endless video games. But then, month 6 arrives. The novelty wears off, and an eerie, creeping silence takes over your mind. You wake up on a Tuesday with absolutely nowhere to be. And you ask yourself, now what? You see, over millions of years, human biology was rigorously wired for one thing: overcoming struggle. Our brains evolved to release highly addictive happy chemicals only when we solve problems and survive. When you completely remove the struggle, you don't get eternal happiness. You get profound emptiness. We officially transition into what historians chillingly call the useless class. Well-fed, perfectly safe, completely entertained, and entirely irrelevant to the functioning of the universe. To cope with this crushing lack of purpose, many might simply plug out of reality, diving into endless hyper-realistic simulations to fight digital dragons and build fake empires just to feel a fleeting pulse of achievement. But the moment you take the headset off, the cold, useless reality hits you right in the face. If we are no longer needed to build, to calculate, or to create, what exactly are humans for? Maybe, just maybe, we have been asking the completely wrong question all along. For centuries, modern society brainwashed us into believing a very specific equation. Your worth equals your economic productivity. But for 99% of human history, jobs didn't even exist. We were simply surviving, connecting, and storytelling around the fire. We just lived. We were simply the universe's way of experiencing its own beauty. An advanced AI can calculate the exact wavelength of that sunset's light in a millisecond. But a machine will never, ever feel the breathtaking warmth of the sun on its face. An algorithm can simulate the perfect words of empathy, but it cannot actually love you. Only a fragile biological creature can truly care for another living thing. So maybe we let the machines build the massive bridges, crunch the endless spreadsheets, and cure the diseases. And we can return to painting not to sell a masterpiece, but simply because it's insanely fun to make a massive mess with colors. Getting there won't be easy. We will have to completely tear down and redesign our entire socio-economic system. We have to finally decouple a person's fundamental right to exist from their obligation to labor. Because at the end of the day, we are the universe's only way of marveling at itself. And we really don't need a corporate job title to do that. We just need to remember how to be human again. The future with artificial intelligence is not a blood-soaked Terminator apocalypse. Instead, it is a massive, unprecedented psychological test for our entire species. We built machines to free our hands from heavy lifting, and now we are building machines to free our minds. The real question is, do we have the wisdom to manage our own absolute freedom? If you still want to keep your brain busy before the robots completely take over, make sure to subscribe to our channel and watch our other videos. And if you want to support human artists directly, grab some of our sweet merch from the shop. At least for now, I promise this script was completely written by a human. See you next time.